What is up, everybody? The Nintendo Switch is right here, right in front of us, and we are ready to dive into the future of handheld home console hybrid gaming. I am so freaking excited, and so we're gonna deep dive into what's all in the box, how the system feels, how it compares to other systems, and of course Zelda Breath of the Wild. If you guys are pumped for the Switch and want to stay tuned for a whole lot more content coverage, make sure to subscribe and stick around because there is a lot coming your way over the next couple days and weeks, and it is gonna be a blast. So let's not even delay. This is a big moment for me. First of all, the box is super cool. I got a neon one, which is amazing. Big thanks to Nintendo for sending this over, providing the review unit and the review copy. I appreciate it. And it's a big day just because I've been a lifelong Nintendo fan, a lifelong Mushroom Kingdom resident, if you will. And so we are gonna open this together. I can't believe it's here. I've played a ton of Switch at events. To have it in my home, though, is just a whole nother magical feeling. First thing you see is this little setup guide of what to do, plug it in, get it ready to go. And then you have it right here. The Switch itself and those gorgeous neon Joy-Con. I love it already. Let's take out the tablet. That's the main attraction, the meat, the bones, the blood of Nintendo's new innovation. And there it is, my friends. The Switch right before our eyes. The gorgeous 6.2-inch 720p screen that looks super crispy on this tablet, whether it's handheld or tabletop. You've got the lovely Switch logo on the back there, and we'll get up close to the ports, but just to give you a brief look, you've of course got your game cart slot, and you've got your volume and whatnot on the top. You got your Joy-Con connector ports on the side. On the bottom here, we have the USB-C port as well as the kickstand, which I've never got to play with because every time I've seen a Switch, it's been connected to some sort of station. Now, there you go, tabletop it up. We'll check that out in a second, but this is beautiful. It feels so good to hold. Now let's do the real deal and put the Joy-Con on it, and let's hear how like the actual Switch sound that click is. But this is it. And again, like I said, we'll get up close in a little bit. Don't worry about that. But let's take these out. I think we'll go with the left one first, which is the blue right here. This bad boy comes in a nice little protective piece of plastic, and wha-bam, the Joy-Con is here. It has the stick up top, the D-pad over here, the L and R for when you want to do single Joy-Con play. And then it, of course, has your Z, L, and your L button, the trigger and the bumper. And those buttons, obviously, are converted to the SL and the SR buttons when you have it in sort of this horizontal mode. I love the Joy-Con. I think it's a great feel. It's a little small, but I've talked to people who have big hands, and they're fine with it. So if you are a small hand person like me, it's great. If you're a big hand person, it seems like people really enjoy it and still like it. It has that HD rumble. It's got the IR pointer functionality, the amiibo functionality when you have the pair. And it's just a really nice controller. It feels good to use, and I really like pretty much everything about it. I don't wish it was bigger. I don't wish it was heavier. It has a nice weight. Everything about the Switch feels well made, and that's something that I really appreciate. So let's put that down for a split second and take out the red. I really love this color. I know some people are all about the gray, but I'm so glad I got neon. I think it just adds an extra layer of fun. So that's the red. As you can see, it has the stick in the middle. It's got the A, B, O, I, X buttons. It has your plus button up top. It's got the home button, whereas the blue has the record or the capture button down there. And then, of course, on the interior, it has that SLSR, and it has the R and the ZR on top. So now, as a pair, you've got these guys right here. Works like this. They look like this together, and we're going to slot them in. So, see the best way to do this. All right, so we've got the blue guy is going to go on here, and you slide it down like so. Doesn't really make as much of a click sound there, but when you turn on the console, I've heard it does, so that's okay. Red Joy-Con on. And just like that, ooh, there's a nice little click. That's pretty good. We have our Switch, and this is the way that most people will know and see the Switch. I plan on using it all sorts of ways, docked, tabletop, handheld, but this is kind of the way that it's been represented, and this is sort of like the definitive Switch look right here. The Joy-Cons on the side, the system right here, and it feels so crazy to finally have this thing. It has been one heck of a hype cycle, and I've been so pumped to have it, and just really, really, really glad that it's here. And I think it looks fantastic. I think it's really cool with the two color Joy-Con. I can't wait to see what they eventually do with different color or themed Joy-Con. So there's that. Now let's set this guy. Oh, let's put him right by Pikachu for a second. Leave him right there on the couch, nice and comfy, my friend. And let's see what else in the box. Of course, there's this insert. We'll take that out, and then we're gonna get into the rest of the goodies, like the grip. Now, the grip may not seem like a lot, but let me tell you, the grip is actually a pretty fun and comfy way to use the controllers. So you can connect the Joy-Con here. It's basically just a shell. All it is a shell to put them together so you're not constantly doing sort of the split feel. This is not the charging grip. The charging grip is a separate accessory that has a USB port so that you're able to connect and charge your Joy-Con as you play, but the Joy-Con are supposed to have a 20-hour battery life. I'm not worried. Every time I'm done, I'll just slot them right back on the Switch while it's docked, and they will charge. That'll be fine. But this is your grip, and I'll slot the Joy-Con into that in a second. We also have, of course, a USB cable. I'll take it out just to show it to you. A nice USB cable. Is it Nintendo branded? It is, and the little Nintendo logo is on the side, which I always think is a fun touch. And then we have the AC adapter here. Let's get this bad boy out. New consoles are the best. This is the best time to be a gamer. The most fun thing in gaming that I do is new consoles. So I love this. There's your AC adapter. It's got the USB-C port, of course, right there, which is the interface or the format that Nintendo Switch works on. And then we've got the dock deep in here that is nicely bubble wrapped. So if you want a little bubble wrap fun, they have provided you with an opportunity before you even turn on the Switch to enjoy your day. It smells kind of smells a little bit like popcorn. It's kind of a nice, like, heartwarming smell. So here is the dock. This is what the Switch goes in when you're doing the TV mode and you want to play on the big screen or a small screen. So it's going to slot right in there. And yeah, this is basically all you got. So you've got your HDMI. And you got your USB ports on the side, and again, we'll take an up-close look at all this when I pick the camera up and kind of give you guys more of a tour. So inside here, there's this little flap. This is interesting. This flips down, and then here you've got AC adapter, USB, and HDMI out. So those all connect there, and then kind of can be nicely tucked away. So it's a real fine and sleek form factor here, and it looks really nice and doesn't take up a whole lot of space. A very small footprint. I mean, the Switch itself already is pretty small, but then the dock and sort of for a home console, this with the Switch in it is very small. We've got, of course, all sorts of pamphlets and information, warranty. That's not very exciting. Right here we have, I believe these are the wrist straps. So this wrist strap will slide onto the Joy-Con, and what it does is it provides bigger buttons for that SR when you are using the Joy-Con in horizontal, like, you know, multiplayer or whatnot. This provides not only a wrist strap for crazy games like 1-2 Switch, but bigger SL and SR if you're finding getting in there with your fingers is a little bit tricky. So it looks like we have a second one as well, so that's good. So our Joy-Con set will now be safe in their wrist straps, and I'll attach those, and let's take the Switch itself. Let's bring this bad boy back here. Hello. The dock is going to be here, and I'll just show you how this all works. So when you want to take the Joy-Con off, there's a button on the back. It's right up here. These little buttons are what you're going to press, and you're going to press them and then slide the Joy-Con off. It's a little hard to do when I'm holding and trying to show it for the camera, but normally it's very easy. So that slots off, and then this one, let's see, slides right off. Bam, back to the Switch. Here it is, and I'll show you. Let's do the grip first. So the Switch can go there. The dock can go there, right next to it. All right, so the grip is here, and we'll slot these little guys onto it. So again, your Joy-Con goes right in here. There's a nice, that's a pretty satisfying click. It's not as snappy as the Switch Snap, but it's pretty satisfying, and that's the grip. It looks like a dog, I know. You can't unsee it, but it's a very cool controller. It's very small in form factor, and it's kind of boxy. At first, you might think, like, this is no way to play a modern video game in 2017, but it actually feels really nice, and I like the way it works. And everyone that's held it, my brother, my friends, they really enjoy it. Jake and Gabe both love playing games this way, and it's a cool way that you can enjoy the Switch either in tabletop or in TV mode with the grip there. Now, just to show you kind of how it all works, again, these just slide right off, and it's a very easy process, provided you've got full hands. So I'm going to put them back on the Switch itself, get that nice little click action there. And I'll have a video showing the setup and turning it on and all that as well. But here's the dock, and so let's put it in the dock. There we go. So your Switch will dock like so. Goes right in like that. And there it is, and you will connect. Obviously the HDMI and everything will be all on and in. And then when you're ready, you'll just pop it right out. It slides out, slides back in, slides out, slides back in. And that is a very painless process. You don't have to like push it down. There's not a whole lot of crazy connection or anything there. So the box itself is done. Before we get to comparisons, I did want to open up Breath of the Wild to show you the game cart because I think you'll be impressed with the size of these things. So far, I only have Breath of the Wild, but I will be picking up a bunch more games when we get to launch. Not sure yet if I'm going to go digital or physical. I really like the form factor of the case. I think it's a nifty size. I like the fact that, you know, it's still tall enough to look and fit well on a shelf, but it has this tiny spine, and I really like that. And you'll see when we compare it to other cases. In fact, we'll do that right now. Look at this 3DS case. It's taller, it's not as wide, but the spines are very interesting. So up here, you'll see it's much thinner, and it only has space for the text instead of a little image, but it looks really cool, and I think the red is gonna serve them well on store shelves and on your shelf. So here's the game case. Zelda on the front, cool screenshots on the back, but what's really surprising is when you open it up, look how small that game card is way down there. A gorgeous piece of artwork here, no instruction manual or anything, but the game card is so tiny. I've never actually held one of these, so ooh, it's chunkier than I expected. All right, so we've got this, and I'll try to get this real up close. You can see there is Zelda Breath of the Wild in all its glory. A little bit of like something's rattling around there, but I think it's just the form factor of the cartridge. Very interesting, of course. They are so small, but this is nice because you'll be able to bring these everywhere, as long as you don't lose them. So again, let's get up close and personal now that you've seen this stuff, now that you've seen the Switch, now that you've seen Zelda, and let's compare it and see what it's like when you get real down and dirty. Well, hello, little guy. Here's the cartridge lineup. You've got Vita, Switch, and 3DS. Interesting to see. It's basically the same size as Vita cards, a little chunkier, so it's a little taller, thicker. And also it has the squared edge at the top instead of the rounded, so it's a little bit bigger, but basically the same size. Like I said, it's a little bit chunkier than Sony's handheld. Obviously a lot smaller than the 3DS cartridge. And the game cases are equally interesting, so it's bigger than the 3DS, smaller than Wii U and the rest. But what's to me most interesting is the width. That spine is very small, and if we go here and compare it, you can see it is not quite half, but definitely smaller than the spine of the 3DS. If we compare it to a Wii U game, it's shorter, it's less wide, and again, smaller spine. PS4 is probably the most comparable, honestly. It's not as wide, but it's just as tall. And then if we take a look at the spines, still, you know, a difference. And similarly, I guess to PS4, Xbox One, not as wide, about just as tall, and a little different of spine size. But yeah, it'll be really cool and interesting to see, like, these are now AAA games. You got the biggest Zelda ever on this tiny cartridge. How the heck has technology come so far? Like, absolute madness. But yeah, that's interesting to note, just like the size difference, where they're at, and what you'll be getting. Again, like, it's interesting how this is a little bit chunky in comparison to the Vita card is you know, less so. But I really like these cartridges, and I think it's cool that Nintendo kind of went back to their roots with cartridges. Obviously very different than like an N64 or a Game Boy cart. But the fact that they can say, hey, we got Zelda Breath of the Wild on the cartridge, we'll have Super Mario Odyssey on a cartridge, very cool. And it's funny, like, if you look here, you know, the 3DS slot does not take up very much space of the actual box, but the Switch one is even smaller. So we open this up, and look, it's so tiny down there. You throw this thing in here, and you're like, what the heck? They probably could have made the boxes miniature, but again, for retail needs and for display needs, I think these boxes are really cool. I really like the size and form factor, and let me know what you think of them in the comments. All right, so we've got the console lineup here. You got the Switch, which I love it already. It's so pretty. The Vita, which actually is like the most similar in form factor. It's like a bigger Vita with detachable controllers. You got a 3DS XL, a new 3DS, the Switch dock. You've got a Wii U, an Xbox One Slim, and a PS4 Slim. I picked the Slims just so you could see, comparison-wise, like this here and the dock itself can all both fit, and you still have a lot of space. And again, we'll go on the Slim. You know, the regular Xbox One, PS4 Pro, regular PS4 are bigger. There you go. They both fit on there. But if we go back here, it's interesting to compare like the size of the 3DS, the new 3DS, to the console, the size of the Vita, to the Switch handheld. Interesting little look there. And then even the 3DS XL, it's bigger. But the tablet itself isn't honestly that much bigger. Like, if we were to put this here, it really isn't that much bigger. It's the Joy-Con that make it bigger. It's still a little bigger, just barely. But just interesting to see and note the comparison there. Compared to the Wii U, if we go over here. Interesting, huh? I mean, it's not as wide. Just about as long, but again, a really nice form factor. And if we look at the Switch itself, or the dock, I guess, that's the Switch itself. Look at the dock. What you're gonna have on your entertainment center or underneath your TV is so much smaller of a footprint in comparison to any other console, really. You know, it's almost a 2.5 times, the Wii U is 2.5 times bigger. The Xbox One is notably bigger. PS4 is notably bigger. And again, these are slims. And it's basically the size, that's pretty funny. It's basically the size of a 3DS XL right there, which is interesting. And that's what's going to be taking shape and sitting there on your entertainment center. Okay, if we want to take a look at the Switch itself up close, down here you've got that USB-C port. Of course, the kickstand's in the back. We'll throw it in tabletop in a second. The top ports, kind of also really want to look at those. You got volume over here, as well as your power. Can we get a focus? There we go. Volume and power. Some ventilation. You got the game card slot. You got the headphone jack. And then we can throw this thing into tabletop mode, which looks really nice. That's a real sexy look for that system. Obviously, you probably wouldn't have the Joy-Con connected because you'd be using them, but it still looks so cool. And I like that you basically have like a mini screen that can be played anywhere. You know, you're in the car, you're at a coffee shop, you're on a plane, you're at work, and you just throw this thing up into kickstand, into tabletop mode, and play away. Now, I'm going to take the Joy-Con off just so you can see what it looks like with just the tablet itself. So there it is, just chilling in its tabletop form with the kickstand up. There's a little Joy-Con. This is basically going to be me. You can throw this thing wherever you want and play like that. Just for a little perspective, there is the dock. So they're very similar in size, actually. If you match these up, the dock is a little bit bigger, but they're actually very comparable in size. And yeah, that's how you're going to be playing it. We'll turn this thing on and get you going through the whole setup in the next video. But yeah, that looks pretty good and feels pretty good, and I can't wait to be directing Link around Hyrule right here on my coffee table. Now, you may be thinking to yourself, where the heck do the memory cards go? We see the game card slot up there. We've seen, you know, the headphone jack. Well, you got to kick up the kickstand, and underneath there, micro SDs go in there. I've got a 200 gig card ready to go. Picked it up, I think, for about $65, which is expensive, but for 200 gigs, it should serve me and my downloadable games for a long time. So they're hidden at the start, but you just pop that kickstand up, and then you can get in and start adding data to your console. So there you have it, my friends. The Nintendo Switch is here. We'll be making all sorts of content covering the system and the game, so make sure to subscribe if you want to be notified about all that stuff as soon as it goes up, and it's coming soon. So it's a great day to be a Nintendo fan, a great day to be a gamer. I think this system is really going to turn heads and do a lot. To me, it's totally worth it. I have played, like I said, a ton of it at events. I've played a bunch of the games. I've been really impressed with the variety and the versatility of the console, being able to play it in tabletop, being able to play it in handheld, being able to dock it, using the Joy-Con as local multiplayer, using the grip, using the eventual Pro Controller, playing it handheld. Wherever you want to play, wherever you want to be, whatever works for you and your lifestyle, the Switch is ready for it. And that's what I love about it. And I think Breath of the Wild is a fantastic game. Cannot wait to pour my life into that. And they have some unique, interesting titles like Snipper Clips and ARMS, and of course Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, and eventually Super Mario Odyssey to really back up and come through on their promise to deliver titles at a very frequent pace and make sure that there is no big gaps like the Wii U had. So I think if you didn't have a Wii U, or you were worried about the Wii U, or you didn't like the Wii U, I think this is a very, very strong successor, and I think that they are going in such a cool direction and doing something so unique that has never been done. I can't even predict yet how all the ways I'm going to use the Switch, where all I'm going to use it, and how it will impact my game playing habits. Will I use it mostly handheld, mostly docked, a little bit of both? We'll just have to wait and see, but for now, this thing comes in at $300, and I think it is worth it. I think Breath of the Wild will be up for the Game of the Year, and I can't wait to share more of it with you. So thank you so much for watching. Hope you all have a fantastic day. Until next time, my friends. The Switch is here, baby, and it feels so good. Thanks for all your support throughout the years. Thank you for letting me do fun, cool stuff like this and have something like this early. It means the world to me that your support has put me in this position to have all these awesome opportunities, and I love you all for it. So thank you so much. Fantastic day. Drink some hot chocolate. We can play this while we drink hot chocolate. We can play it in the bathtub. Actually, that's probably a bad idea. We can play it on the beach. I'm going to go play it in my house because I haven't played it yet. So let's get to that. And until next time, everyone, drink some hot chocolate. Thanks again. I love you. And we'll see you all later.